Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good morning, good day, depending on where you are tuned in this hour. This is the Thursday Morning Digest, and I am your host, Laureen Magotsi. As always, we come to you live from the Elevate TV studios, right at the heart of the city of Nairobi. And so I want to welcome you to the program. I want you to share our links, our social media links with all your friends so that they can join us this morning as we discuss a very important topic. And it's a topic, if you've been following our shows, it keeps coming up that women have this challenge, that many women are not able to reach their potential. They are not optimal in their performance because of this problem. And so I want to encourage you to share the links, invite your friends, and tell them the Thursday Morning Digest is on. So I want to introduce our guest today, but as always, I usually begin with questions. So what is the imposter syndrome? Why is it considered a problem in many cases, and particularly for women? It is considered as one of the leading problems and causes of women not reaching their potential in relationships, other workplace, and also, you know, in ministry and other areas. So today I have in studio with me a guest who is going to shed more light on it. Is it a bad thing entirely, or are there good things that we can carry from what we call the imposter syndrome? So I want to welcome my guest this morning. Paps, you are welcome.
Asante.
Please introduce yourself and just tell our viewers who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Paps Wanyugi.
Yes.
I'm a life coach, I'm a psychologist, I'm an author, and I'm also a mentor.
Wow.
Yeah, and I love saying I am your partner in creating the extraordinary life you desire and deserve.
Wow.
And so that is what all my work and my engagements is about. I work with preteens, teens, and women,
Yes.
my primary clients, and of course by extension mentors who work with children and parents and marriages. Like we end up just hitting everything.
Oh, wow.
In the process.
Wow, wow, wow. I love what you say. Please repeat it again. That you partner with?
I am your partner in creating the extraordinary life that you desire and deserve.
Wow. Yes. Excellent. So we have your partner in studio today, and she's going to help us to understand more about the imposter syndrome. Okay, so just tell us now about yourself. Who is Paps? Yeah.
So Paps is, first of all, extroverted. I love saying that, and yeah, I just find energy around people.
Yes.
The other thing about myself is the fact that this topic and conversation is dear to me because I grew up as an imposter. I grew up never believing in myself.
Okay.
Yeah, and when I was a teenager, when I was 15 years old, I was actually a suicidal teen.
Oh.
Yeah, and all that, the process of rebuilding myself and just finding who I am and finding all these things that God has called me to do has been the process of probably coming back to confidence. And so one of my books called Reconfidence, it's about to get your bold back. Wow. You know, and so that has been the journey of my life.
Yes.
Like coming back from a place of, first of all, finding out who I am, what God has called me to do. Yeah, and of course, besides that, I'm married to an amazing guy called James, yeah, for 11 years now.
Wow.
And we have 4 children.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 are adopted and 2 biological children, and we are very grateful. And of course, in all the work that I do, one of the things is we just want Jesus to be famous.
Wow.
And want to point people to him, because even the imposter syndrome, it's just about, you know, where are you looking?
Yes.
You know, what is the mirror in front of you?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing a bit about yourself. We like to have our guests share their life stories because it helps our audience also connect. Because perhaps there's somebody this morning that is watching and they're thinking, you know, these guys in studio have it all together and they've always had it together. So when you share certain vulnerabilities, I think it helps our audience also to connect with us. Okay, so we just want to jump right into our discussion. And perhaps the first question that we would like to look at is really, what is this that we call the imposter syndrome? What is it?
Yeah, so imposter syndrome, let me use two things to describe the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Number one, it's the feeling that I am fake. And one day people will find out. You know, just feeling like you're fake. And then the other thing about the imposter syndrome is downplaying your achievements. You keep on feeling like it's luck. It was just a coincidence. You never take full credit for what happens in your life.
Yes.
Or you never take... one of the funny things is that we accept liability for the things that go wrong in our lives, but we don't take enough credit for what happens in our lives. And so, for example, if I fail, I really beat myself. But if I succeed, I'm feeling like, ilikuwa tu bahati. You know, it's like I'm not a brilliant person. I am not this, I'm not all that. You know, and one day people will find out. And so imposter syndrome plays in those places. And I love saying imposter syndrome is not just a syndrome of corporate women. It plays out at home. You know, you keep on feeling like I'm not a good wife enough. I'm not a good mother enough. You know, you keep on feeling like you are not enough. And that is usually the underlying thing. And one of the things about imposter syndrome is it always has a hint of shame. You know, you're just ashamed of who you are. And so no matter what you do, you never shake it off. And I love saying you will never overcome the imposter syndrome no matter how successful you are. Sometimes we always feel like I need to do more. Let me go and do masters. Let me get more certifications so that I can feel like I have my thing together. You will never get there because the imposter syndrome is something that is alongside you no matter what you achieve. In a way, even if you are the president or you know, no matter which role you get into, you will never feel enough if you're not aware what feeds your imposter syndrome.
Wow, wow. I hope you're listening. We've started rolling and there are already, you know, important nuggets that are coming through. That it's that feeling that I'm not enough. And isn't it that, you know, so many women, okay, even men, by the way, but because we are talking about women today, is that there are so many women out there who feel I'm not enough, you know. Maybe I need to do better, you know. Maybe I need to put more makeup. Maybe I need to go to the gym, you know. Maybe I should have been maybe shorter or taller, or I should have been lighter or darker, you know. So how do we begin to identify that we have this problem?
So number one, you need to understand your own story.
Yes.
Like where did it start raining for you? Because imposter syndrome, most of the times you'll be able to trace it back to a long time ago. In terms of the stories you believed about yourself. One of the things it doesn't help, of course, my interest and my areas of coaching is mostly in Africa. And I know that we understand, first of all, the cultural context of what women are, what women should do, how women should behave. And so that socialization is really a huge, huge, huge thing. In a way, it doesn't matter where you go. When you go to other countries, you still keep on feeling like, am I inferior because I'm an African, because of my skin color? You know, what can I do about it? Should I buy more Brazilian and make it 6 inches longer? You know, so you keep on thinking about ways to cover up. And it's because that is what we were taught. That is how we were socialized. Like you need to be a certain way. And then what happens with the imposter syndrome, when I hit the bars of what I thought I should have been, I keep on doubting myself. You know, so for example, if I exceed my expectations in terms of my professional growth, I exceed my expectations in terms of my achievements in life, then I start downplaying myself. And many women self-sabotage when they get into those places of success. And so for example, you don't believe like you can be successful corporately, and then in the family end, and then probably in the parenting end, in the marriage end. And so you keep on feeling like the imposter will make you feel like you need to drop one ball so that the other one can roll.
Okay, I want to take you back again to culture. And I just want us to discuss it a bit more, because the example that comes to my mind is like women have been socialized to serve. Okay, so you go to a meeting, it's a boardroom, and you're the one serving all the men tea. You're all perhaps CEOs, or maybe they're even your juniors, but because of that socialization, you just feel, and it's not out of service, because there are people who just love serving, but you feel I can't be sitting here, I'm a woman, and the men are sitting. I need to serve them. Yeah. So how do we deal with these cultural issues that then spill over into our lives?
So, first place to start, it's important for you to define who you are.
Yes.
Without any other reference.
Okay.
You know,
Please
it's important for you to refine your identity.
Yes.
So, for example, one of the things there is the programs that I do. There is one called the self-concept.
Yes.
In terms of who is Paps.
Yes.
Without anyone and without anything.
Wow.
Can you first of all refine that space in terms of if I'm not all this, who am I?
Yes.
First of all, have that secure identity.
Wow.
Of who I am is what flows into everything I do. But everything I do doesn't give me identity.
Wow.
And so when you're coming from that premises, then how you show up will be different.
Okay.
Because
I think that's a very important point, and I think our audience needs to just capture that, and our viewers, that you must begin with who you are without all these other things and all these other people. Yeah. Yeah, I think for me that's a key takeaway. Who are you? It's not about where you serve in church or where you work, but as an individual. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. So once you understand that,
and then number two, you also ask yourself, what do I need?
Wow.
I think many times we don't treat ourselves with compassion, and we don't treat ourselves with that validating our needs. You know, and so every time you're in a place, instead of thinking about what everyone else wants, just ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need? And I think this is a question I ask myself a lot in terms of self-talk.
Yes.
Learn to have conversations with yourself, because most of the times, even in that boardroom situation, for you to wake up and serve tea to everyone, it's because you had a conversation with yourself.
Yes.
In terms of, perhaps, how can you be sitting here and you're a woman?
Wow.
You know? So you need to show up to yourself with a lot of compassion, so that you don't feel the need to overfunction, so that you can fit in and belong.
Oh, wow.
Most of the times, the reason we struggle with in such spaces, it's because we want to overfunction, want to overcompensate. You feel like being a woman is wrong, and so I need to work harder so that I can be able to beat the game. But you don't understand, if you're secure in who you are, then you'll just thrive.
Yes.
You don't need to feel like you need to work hard and to do a lot so that you can be
everyone in the room.
Yeah. And of course, that also comes from a place of people pleasing.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether we understand, sometimes they just go all out on even the bridal shower thing. I'm usually like, okay, who is doing something for the guy so that he can also be a better husband? You know, it's because in socialization it was always like, you need to work hard so that you can become better for everyone. You know, but most of the time, like especially in our cultural context, men were never taught that.
Yes.
Like they need to work hard apart from providing, but they don't need to become kinder. They don't need to become probably more emotionally present. Nobody mentions those things. And so what happens is that I am trying to do double the work for my relationships to work, whether they are corporate, whether they are marital, whether they are social relationships as well, in terms of my friendships, in terms of the family expectations I have. I keep on feeling like I need to work double hard because I'm a woman. But the moment you understand that being a woman is not a limitation and it's not a disadvantage, it's an opportunity. You know, like this is my packaging. But it doesn't mean that when I come I don't give results. And so this is an opportunity to show up as me. You know, in how God has wired me. Like God put everything in me as a woman to achieve all the things I need to achieve. So if I'm sitting, for example, in State House and I am a woman, I'm like, yeah, God has given me this opportunity. I don't need to feel like, yeah, I'm a woman. Maybe a man would have done a better job. And of course, sometimes it's because the voices around us keep on reminding us your place. And if you are not secure in who you are, which goes back to identity, then you keep on adjusting yourself everywhere you go, and you keep on losing yourself. It's like who you are keeps on dripping and keeps on falling through the cracks in the places you go. And of course, the higher you go, the more voices there will be. The more opinions there will be. You know, the more people are feeling like they are entitled to an opinion of who you are. And so if you don't deal with those places in your secret space, in terms of I am building my identity, I'm secure in who I am. And so everywhere I show up, I show up from that place of a calm spirit. That God is the one who's brought me here. I deserve to be here. You know, this is a great honor. But at the same time, I don't need to feel like I need to work hard to even retain it, sustain it, or probably get back here on another day. I'm actually here. It's a privilege. I'm grateful, and I'll be fully present right now.
Wow. Wow.
to me as well.
Yes.
You know, even as a life coach, I have people that I'll go and I'm like, yeah, I don't even think I'm so great. You know, I'm actually feeling like a failure. And then they will remind you who you are. And many times we don't have enough of those people.
Wow.
So what happens is that you are insecure. You keep on faking it until you make it. But you don't understand that actually who you are might be more than even what you are offering.
Yeah.
And of course, another probably perspective in terms of what contributes to the imposter syndrome is the fact that we feel it's about me. You know, you feel like it's about you. It's about, it's just about Paps. You know, Paps needs to make it. Paps needs to show up. But you don't understand that it's God who works through me. Yeah, and I really love the way Paul says, when you look at us, there is nothing glamorous. I mean, we are just earthen jars. Earthen vessels. When you think about that earthen vessels, first of all, it needs to be secure that it will never be, what do you call those places where you keep money in the bank?
Not the safes.
Yeah, the safe. Yeah, like those, with combination locks and those places, strong rooms, you know, you will never be that, because we always assume treasures should be kept in those places. And so the imposter syndrome makes you work hard to become that safe. But you don't understand, you will always be an earthen vessel, an earthen jar, but you will carry treasures, so that it can remind you every time when people look at you, there is nothing much, but there is something amazing about you. And every time it points back to God. And so most of the times when we are struggling with the imposter syndrome, I was actually thinking when I was coming here this morning, imposter syndrome is a gift that God gives you so that you can never depend on yourself. You will never feel like it's about me. So that even when I achieve, there's a study we are doing as a family. It's called the prayer circle. You know, like you circle things in prayer. And yesterday we were looking at, sometimes we don't refine enough what we want in terms of we pray vague prayers. And so sometimes we also show up as our vague selves, you know. But you don't understand, if you refine clearly what you want, write down your goals in terms of this is who I want to become, this is where I want to go. Every time you achieve that, you'll be like, wow, God. Instead of feeling like, yeah, was it even good enough? Because if it was about myself, I will be insecure with every achievement I have. But if I remember it's about God, then I'm like, yeah, that was you, that was you, that was you. And I don't need to feel the need of, was I good enough? Because I'm like, God showed up. And so that is also the other perspective in terms of when you look in the mirror, who do you see? Do you see God or do you see yourself? You know, so that even those times I fail, I don't beat myself, because I'm like, yeah, God, you had a plan. Yeah, there is something beautiful that can still come out of this. You work everything together for good. And so you don't keep on feeling the need to take the fall and then, of course, don't celebrate the win. Because you don't feel like you deserve it or it was not about you. And so that is the other perspective on the imposter syndrome and how it plays out. And of course, something else about where the imposter syndrome is fed on is just about where we are right now. Sometimes you can feel stuck in terms of the things you want to do and who you want to become. Sometimes my ideal self and my real self, they have such a big discrepancy. And most of the times how you narrow down this place is self-awareness. You know? So who I want to be and who I am. And that is why I don't feel like I deserve that, because I usually think I need to be a certain way. I need to have some certain qualifications to achieve that. I am someone who started journeying with people before I had anything. Like I was not a life coach. I was not even a counselor. Like I was not even a psychologist. In 2007, I just started going to schools to just speak to girls. I had Google, Jesus, and IT. Like I didn't even have anything related, like in terms of my background. But one of the things is I just kept on feeling like I have a mission, I have a calling. And so I kept on showing up. And then with time, I got to do my BA, psychology, sociology, and religion. And then later, I became a therapist, and then later I became a certified coach. But I've never felt like I need to become first so that I can show up. And it's because my reality gap and my ideal gap was so wide. It has always been wide, even now. But I never feel that need of sitting back until I get there. And so many women sit down because they are waiting to be a certain way so that they can show up.
Okay, before you go on, I want us to define that reality versus ideal gap. Let's just try to elaborate on what you mean so that our viewers are not left behind. What do you mean when you say that my reality gap, my reality and ideal gap? What is that?
So for example, most of us, or at least I presume, we have written down where we want to become, what you want to do. So for example, let me give just a vague example again.
Yes.
Maybe you want to do a master's, but right now you have a certificate. You know?
Yes.
The reality gap and the ideal self and the real self, the gap is so huge.
So my reality is my certificate course.
Yeah, the up on your reality.
And my ideal,
vitu kwa ground.
Yeah. Yes, so kwa ground niko na certificate. And my ideal self says, I have a master's in business administration. Yeah. So now the gap is the movement from certificate to master's.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So now what you're explaining to us this morning is that this gap is what may feed imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because I feel inadequate because I'm still very far.
Very true.
Okay.
Very true.
All right. So I hope...
Yes. And of course, when you feel that distance in terms of the certificate and the masters,
yes,
sometimes you may be performing so well in a way you can show up and do your best even without the masters.
Yes.
As you wait for the masters.
Yes.
And let me just bring in someone else, Joseph.
Yes.
Joseph never felt like an imposter.
Wow.
There are so many people in the Bible who achieved great things.
Yes.
But maybe they struggled with the imposter syndrome. And so look at Joseph. He is in charge of everything in Potiphar's house.
Yes.
I mean, first of all, you are a foreigner.
Yeah.
This is a government official. How can you be in charge? Can you imagine even how the people that were working under him made him feel?
Yeah.
They will actually make him feel like you don't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that management position is mine. This guy has not even done his, you know, master's agenda, Oxford,
He's a
agenda
slave.
Takim. You know, he's actually a slave. He was bought when he was naked. And then all of a sudden he's calling shots.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just about now that perspective of how does he think he got there? If you feel like I got here because of my effort, because I am organized, because then you'll keep on struggling with the imposter syndrome. But if you feel like, wow, God, then wherever you find yourself, even with your certificate, you'll still feel like I'm worthy. If you're running a 6-figure and you have certificate, you'll not feel like an imposter because you're like, wow, God. You know, you're the one who's brought me here. Esther also had an imposter syndrome. I mean, she is in the palace, and you can remember Esther even had a double click imposter syndrome. Because she had been told to not say who she is. So you're actually an imposter in real life in terms of you're here posing as someone that you're not. You are told to not say you're Jewish by Mordecai. And so you come into this role, into this prestigious position. Was it that she was actually struggling with the imposter syndrome? That is why she didn't do anything until Mordecai came and told her, you need to know why you're here for such a time as this. You know? So we realize it's a privilege, but it's a privilege from God. It's not a coincidence to be where I am. Even David, when he's going to kill Goliath, he's an imposter. Where would you pitia KDF? You know, you've not gone through the military processes. What do you even know? What do you know about fight? You know, you've never held a gun in your life, and then you're going to beat Goliath. But you see, it's about,
my goodness.
and that is why when he shows up, how he beats the imposter syndrome of nobody believed in him anyways. His brothers didn't believe in him. Saul didn't believe in him. Goliath is making fun of him. He was like, I come to you in the name of the Lord. You know, that is how we overcome the imposter syndrome. We show up in the name of the Lord in everything that we are doing. Because you know, Paps in her default settings, she's nothing. Personally, 24 years later, since that night that I wanted to commit suicide, every time, okay, it's die by suicide. I was told commit suicide is stigmatizing. The day I wanted to die by suicide, I had suicide ideation. When I look back at the 24 years that I have been, every time I achieve something, I usually remind myself, Paps, without God, you're that 15-year-old girl who wanted to die that night. Everything else you become, it's because of God. And that is why probably I don't feel the need to sit down and to feel like I don't deserve. Even that day, the first time I was on BBC and I'm standing there, I'm like, how to wanajua, by the way, you know, like right now I don't even know where my certificate is if they asked me for it. Do they know that I don't have it all together? You know, all those times, even this week I was on the Eve Woman, you know, published on 2 pages. And just reading that story, I was like, wow, this is God. I didn't feel like, these people, if people start digging me up. For me, I even love public transport. Like even today I came here on Matatu. I don't feel the need to show up a certain way. I remember even someone was like, Paps, by the way, you need to do more makeup. By the way, I don't do. Okay, nowadays I do it a lot, but in the past, once in a blue moon, like you need to do makeup. There's some certain clients who will not attract if you're a certain way. I'm like, well, I don't struggle with that. You know, my ship will hear my voice without makeup, and they will know that I'm able to help them. And so I don't feel the need to package myself a certain way, to show up a certain way, so that I can feel like I belong or I fit in. And it's because I remind myself, without God, I'm that 24-year-old. You know, so I'm not brilliant. You know, all these books, even the times I've had book launches, I've launched 2 books. One in 2021, Reconfidence, and then this other one is Leading Generations,
Yes.
which is on a parenting manual. And during those book launches, you're standing there, the limelight is on you.
Yes.
Every time I'm just like, wow, God.
Yeah.
Because I know, sometimes I read those books and I'm like, wow, did I write all this?
Yeah.
And instead of feeling like an imposter, I
Yes.
just feel like, wow, God, this is your wisdom. These are your instructions. This
Yes.
is what you've taught me.
Yes.
And so I don't feel the need to, you know, to be the person in the limelight. I actually see God is the one who is on the limelight for this. Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. I hope you're listening and learning and, you know, taking note of the powerful discussions that are going on here. I really love the way you have approached the issue of the imposter syndrome, and particularly when you talk about the earthen vessel, that at most or at best, we are earthen vessels.
And we will always be.
Yes.
Don't improve yourself.
Yes. Wow. But it is the treasure that is in us, you know, that then we need to make sure that we display to the world. But as individuals, we are that earthen vessel. And so there is no need for us to try and, you know, outperform, outmaneuver, so that we look like we are people who we really aren't. I don't know about you, but I'm learning something. Okay. So before we just take a break, is there any other thing you want to tell us about causes of the imposter syndrome, and particularly maybe what you touched on, the voices around us, like with David, his brothers, even the people that mattered didn't believe in him. Just for a minute before we take a break.
Yeah. One of the things that I know will amplify your imposter syndrome is also toxic spaces, you know, toxic environments,
Yes.
in terms of the people who surround us, in terms of structures and frustrations of things that are not working.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes it's very difficult for you to prove yourself when you're in the wrong place.
Wow, wow,
You know?
wow, wow.
Yeah, if you're not aligned, and that is why one of the passions, like in terms of my area of coaching, number
Yes.
one is usually purpose alignment. Can you first of all find out whether you're in your element?
Oh.
Because you will never feel good enough if you're in the wrong place, if you're doing the wrong thing as well.
Yeah.
You know, you need to find that alignment of who you are and what you do. They're actually in sync. And then the other thing is now that other aspect of being surrounded by toxic people. You know?
Yeah.
Do you know the Bible even says that you should not walk with angry people lest you learn their ways? You know? Yeah, like there's some environments that will just keep on flipping you, that
Yeah.
will keep on putting you down.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how hard you work.
Yes.
And with time, it will start eating into who you are. Because faith comes by hearing and hearing. And same thing,
Yeah.
fear comes by hearing and hearing.
Yes.
If you keep on hearing voices of self-defeat, ear in, ear out,
Yes.
you know, you will lose who you are. You will lose that gleam in your eye. You will
Yes.
lose that spring in your feet.
Yes.
And so sometimes environment is everything. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, viewers. Unfortunately, we have to take a short break, and we'll be back. Just don't touch that dial, because we will be right back. Thank you.
Are you looking for an opportunity to deepen your faith and walk in the footsteps of Jesus, the prophets, and apostles? Join us on a trip to the Holy Land of Israel from 1st to 10th November 2023. Israel is not just a beautiful country, it is the land of the Bible, of milk and honey, the land of miracles, and where our Savior Jesus Christ was born. This is an opportunity to experience your Bible come to life, to see where the foundation of our faith all began, and visit sites where Jesus did miracles. The total cost for this experience is $2,350 US. Make a deposit of $500 US via NCBA Bank Paybill number 880100, account number 6414090018, account name Ozima Investment Limited. For more information, call Esther on 0717 662 542 or Charlie on 0700 412 045. Join us on this unforgettable journey to the Holy Land of Israel. Let's experience the living Word of God together. Don't miss out.
Welcome back. Welcome. This is a Thursday Morning Digest, and we are coming to you live from the Elevate TV studios, right at the heart of the city of Nairobi. And we've been having a very interesting and informative discussion with our guest, Paps. And we've talked about the imposter syndrome, how to identify it, and what strengthens it in our lives. And we've also looked at it as a gift that helps us so that we are not overly puffed up with some of the achievements that we have, or that we really look down on ourselves because of the failures of our lives. So we want to take it up from there and just discuss again. So how do we get out of the imposter syndrome, and also how does it manifest in the various facets of our lives? So perhaps just take us again through. I know we've touched on some examples on the imposter syndrome at the workplace and all that, but maybe we can now just go and identify them specifically. So a woman who is perhaps married and is at home, how would the imposter syndrome manifest? That one who is in the corporate, again, how would we be able to identify that? And perhaps we have a teen, because you have a passion for teens as well. And then, of course, we have maybe the older women. Yeah, just in a nutshell, what are your views, and then what has been your experience dealing with women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first of all, when it comes to the home space, I'll actually give my own example of just being in a good marriage, and especially in this time and age. I love going for therapies, and I remember one time when I went for therapy, of course, there was just something that was not working in my marriage, and I remember my therapist telling me, "Perhaps you have a very good marriage. You should know the kind of cases and the things that women are going through in marriages." And just really feeling privileged, like to just have a functional marriage, married for 11 years, and probably we don't have a perfect marriage, but there are those times that, you know, you've just really felt like this is such a blessing to be married to this guy. I usually feel like maybe I'm the dramatic one in most of the ends of what happens in our marriage. And I think it's also those times that even in my own life, maybe there are seasons I will be triggered by what my clients are going through. And I'll be like, are you sure James is also not cheating on me? Are you sure James is also not doing this? Are you sure? And then I'll even start going, I'm like, yeah, by the today he didn't even call me, you know? And so the imposter syndrome, what it does, it makes you doubt sometimes that what you have is enough.
Wow.
And so you keep on feeling like, am I shortchanging myself? You know, and much as probably sometimes you have a marriage that is good on many ends, and especially, let me just put it in this place where both of you love God, you know, and you can actually feel like whatever is going between us, maybe he doesn't bring flowers, he doesn't do all those amazing things that, by the men should actually do. Yeah, you should do those things. But when those things are not happening and you have a functional marriage, most of the times the imposter syndrome will try to sabotage what you already have. And so you become unreasonable, you complain a lot, you know, you just become unhappy. And it's because you feel like whatever you have, much as it is amazing, you start feeling like, not even that like there is more, the imposter syndrome will actually tell you that this is not it. You know, this is not it. Like probably even who I am, I don't even deserve him. You know, and so I should prove myself so that I can feel like I deserve him, I deserve his love, I deserve his attention. And so when you have those voices of self-doubt, how you show up in your marriage can be dysfunctional.
Oh dear.
Because when you're struggling with the imposter syndrome, you feel the need of working harder, even on marriage. And I usually say, you need to understand that one of the things, a perspective that really helps me in my own situation when I'm struggling in that is to remember that my commitment is to God, not James. And I usually see it as a triangle, that if I keep on climbing and I'm climbing to God, James is climbing to God, God is the one who will keep us together, we'll always meet in him. But the problem is if I'm working hard, probably James is in God, Paps is working hard, trying to get to James. First of all, me and James, see the bottom of the triangle, we are worlds apart. We are worlds apart. We don't think the same, we don't have the same interests, we come from different backgrounds, you know. And so the moment I keep on climbing up and I feel like it's because I want to earn the marriage I have, then that is an imposter syndrome right there. And sometimes also as a mom, because I may be looking around and seeing what everyone is doing for their children. I'm like, yeah, people hug their children when they come from school. Me, I just hold my hand, and then I'm like, 20, 20, 20, 20. There's a whole checklist of to-do list when you get to the house, you know. So how I don't show up. There's even someone who was saying how they are homeschooling, and then, you know, they just look at the homeschooling videos, the way they are walking in the nature, they pick leaves, and then she's like, what am I not doing? What am I not doing? And so that voice of you're not doing enough is how the imposter syndrome plays out. And one of the things I usually say, you will never meet all your child's needs, and it's fine. That is why they go to school. That is why they go to Sunday school. That is why they have all those camps you send them to, and the coaching programs that we do. You bring them because you are also realizing, I don't want to struggle with the imposter syndrome of I'm meeting all my child's needs.
Please just pause there, because that's a very powerful point. I'm a parent. I know how it feels when you feel that, you know, perhaps you're not doing enough for your children. I think let's just dwell on that a little bit. That I don't have to do everything for my child or for my children. And neither do you watching us this morning or whatever time it is. You don't have to do everything for your children. That's why we have all these programs. I think that's a very important takeaway, so that you don't feel inadequate, you know. Okay, please.
And probably when it comes on the parenting end, it is because I feel like this whole human depends on me. And their rising and falling is on me. But you don't understand, they're here for God, they're not even here for you. These children didn't come to take a box of insecurity in your life. And so even sometimes how we force them, you know, you need to do ballet, you know, because I never danced. That is the back story in my head.
Or you buy toys that you buy in the guise that you're buying for them, but they're really toys you wanted when you were young.
I know. And even the places you take them, you keep on breaking the bank, you are overstretched, you are burning out, because you're feeling like there's a certain way you need to do things for your children. One of the things I love saying is that children don't have a lot of expectations. They don't. Do you know, if today your life changed, and I remember a season in our lives where you know, they go to a good school and then the fees just went up, and of course you have 2 children there, so you have to think, well, like, should we move them to another fairly priced school? And then later we're like, no, my husband was like, no, we'll keep them there. So I was like, okay, this is what I can do. We'll take them off school transport, and we'll take them off school meals. They'll be carrying food, and again we will be dropping them and picking them up. You know, and for a while, of course, I need to ask myself, is that insecurity me, or is it really the children? During those times that you need to make such decisions. Because if it is about them, then you'll just talk to them and talk to them and tell them this is what is happening. And for us, we had a family meeting. We're like, guys, by then this and this is what will change. You want to keep you in NJs, but then we will change this and this. And what happened is how graceful they were to accept that. They were so happy to carry food. The second day, my daughter is older, she was like, Mom, today it was only me and another girl, you know, who had food. And then even that, my best friend was moved to another class, so I'm the only one who was eating home food. And at that moment, you know, your instinct is, I need to pay lunch for her, you know, to tafute pesa tumlipie. But I was like, is it about me or about her? And I asked her, Mommy, what are you learning in this season? What are you learning as you carry food instead of eating food from school? And she was like, by there I learned that I don't have to be like everyone else. You see, that was a learning moment for her. And most of the times we take that away from children because we want them to fit in. We want them to belong. In a way, we project our imposter syndrome on our children. Because we want them to show a certain way of they are perfect. You know, my children don't scream. My children are always neat. They don't get muddy when they play in the mud. You know, I carry for them 10 clothes.
Pretty in church.
It is about me because I'm thinking about what people will think about me because this is my child. And so you are projecting your imposter syndrome as a parent on your child. And so it's about me dealing with my imposter first. In terms of Paps, who are you trying to prove the point to? You're trying to prove the point to your children, to your, you're trying to prove the point to the community, to that school because they know you're a life coach. So what will they think? Paps can no longer afford school fees here. It's because of other voices in your head. It has nothing to do with your child. It has nothing to do with those other people. Do you know sometimes people don't care? People don't care about you. People are also thinking about themselves. We give people too much airtime in terms of what they think about us, how they see us, what they say about us. People are also sucked in. Like right now, fuel is 200 men. Who is thinking about you? Everybody is trying to stay alive. You know?
True. And you know what you say just helps me to see, even in the scripture, the grasshopper mentality where these guys are called as spies. They go into a foreign land and then they say, the 10 say, we saw ourselves as grasshoppers in their own sight. Yeah. And I think that's something that viewers, I think we really need to deal with. What do you see yourself as? Because if you continually see yourself as a grasshopper, remember, the guys in Canaan have no idea. They don't even know you're there.
They actually think you're interesting because you look different.
Yeah, yeah. But you, on the other hand, are busy thinking about, you are projecting, I like what you said, you are projecting your imposter syndrome, you know, on others.
Yeah.
Wow, wow.
And probably to just add something, do you know when you're in the bathroom, that is usually the most private moment in your life. And most of the times, you are in your most vulnerable space. But sometimes you are safest because you don't think about anyone else apart from yourself.
Yes.
You know? And the problem, the reason you are insecure in the bathroom, it's because you're bringing everyone to the bathroom.
Oh.
You're bringing your husband, what does he think about me? You're bringing your boss. You know, yesterday, what did he mean in what he said about this about me, this comment he made? You're thinking about your colleagues.
Yeah.
But when you think about self-esteem, there's nobody who struggles with self-esteem when they're not comparing themselves with someone else. Self-esteem issues always come because there's someone else I'm bringing and then I'm weighing myself
against
or looking in the light of who they are.
Wow.
And sometimes that person that I'm even comparing myself with is an imposter, you know?
Oh dear.
Because that person also doesn't believe in themselves. They don't see themselves as altered.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the things actually one perspective that I also have on the imposter syndrome, it's the fact that sometimes everyone in the room is also struggling and they are trying to stay alive, you know? So I should not blow up that other people are better than me.
Yeah.
We are not in a competition. We are in purpose. And purpose means that whatever I was created to do, I do it so well more than anyone, regardless of who they are and what they have.
Yeah.
And so sometimes even having those conversations, and one of the things I usually say for you to overcome the imposter syndrome, number one is also gratitude. Learn to feel grateful about where you are, about what you have.
Yes.
Be totally grateful. Learn to see everything in the eyes of wonder.
Yes.
And then, of course, the other thing to overcome the imposter syndrome, it is also to redefine your identity, what we discussed earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, define who you are. Choose who you want to be. And that is why even Joshua, when he's living in this place, people are going this way and this way. Instead of struggling with the imposter syndrome, he stands and is like, I don't know what you guys want to serve, but as for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord. Yeah. Drawing the line in terms of this is who I am. It doesn't matter how everything else looks so appealing. I'll not keep on trying everything else. I just want to draw the line on who I am and what I'm committed to. And it's important for you to choose your battle and your commitment in life. Because there will always be people who are better than you. Yes. There will always be people who will achieve more than you. Yes. There will always be that moment where you know that you are not good enough and God is the one who did it. Yes. All those moments will keep on playing out. But it's important for you to remind yourself that, you know, I'm not all this, but at the same time, God does all this through me. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow, what insights we are receiving this morning. And I hope that you are taking notes and seeing the areas where you need to begin to change, to redefine yourself, to change your environment, and really just to align with your purpose so that you can thrive. So we've looked at it at the home front. I know we talked about it a bit with, you know, in the corporate, but maybe for teenagers and for parents of teenagers, how do you help them to get out of the imposter syndrome? Because it's a very confusing stage for teenagers. Yeah. Yeah.
So first of all, you're raising children who know you're not that. You're not all that, you know? The bottom is coming off for you. They can actually see you're always late to work. They can see the inconsistencies in your life. Yes. They can already see your shortcomings and your weaknesses. They are calling you out. They are challenging you. Yes. And of course, these are also people who are trying to find out themselves. Yes. And one of the things I usually say when you're thinking about teenagers and even preteens nowadays, because nowadays the maturation age has also gone lower. Yes. In a way, a 9-year-old child has a level of self-awareness that a 15-year-old child had in our time. Yes. And so when you're thinking about this 9-year-old, just keep on showing them, keep on affirming that you're not all that. It's actually God who helps you raise them. Wow. Also the other thing, ask them for advice. These children can teach you a lot. Wow. Learn from teenagers more than you tell them. If you adopt that posture of a student to them, and then also you adopt that posture of, I'm still in charge, but I want to learn from you. Yes. They are very happy to teach you. They are very happy to probably help you see things from their worldview.
Yes.
Because the other thing you need to remember, right now people who are raising teenagers are probably millennials. In terms of people born in their 80s,
yes.
or maybe you are born in mid-90s if you are an early mom. And one of the things you understand is that we are generations apart.
Yes.
And there are so many things that have changed.
Yes.
The problem is the imposter syndrome. You keep on showing up like your parents who know everything, they were always number one. That thing doesn't work for this generation.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
They actually know you even got a warning letter at work. Like everything is everywhere because sometimes they will take your phone, read your emails.
Yes.
We never had records for our parents.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
They can see sometimes they can see you and dad are not getting along because we are always raising them in a generation that has family disruption levels that are crazy.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So for example, even if you're in this, coming from this broken place where I'm raising a teenager and probably my marriage is not altered, how can I still raise them in a way that I don't feel like I am an imposter?
Yes.
It's in a place of vulnerability, you know, and it's not really giving them all the gory details of what's happening in your life.
Yes.
But it's just that part of, I am not perfect, I'm figuring things out, but I want to raise you well. Can you show me how? You know, invite them as consultants.
Wow.
Ask for wisdom from them. One of the things that we normally do when we are doing our parenting thing is to first of all do something called conscious parenting. You need to first of all do it from consciousness.
Yes.
Where I don't have the filters of how I was brought up. That is what I'm trying to project on my children.
Wow.
I'm also not trying to fix what was wrong with how I was brought up.
Okay.
Because when you're busy fixing, you will also miss out on what it should have been.
Yes.
And then one day your children will be fixing. For example, the previous generations were always, moms were always home, like probably in the 80s. They were stay-home moms. You know, they were home. They couldn't even help their children with homework because they had no idea what their children are learning in school, many of them. And then we are coming from this place where I am this CEO or I am this person who has it together in the marketplace. How do I show up as a parent? If I keep on despising that my mother was not good enough, I need to outplay my mother, then I start over-functioning. But I don't understand that I am building up from where my mother left. And so when you're thinking that I actually benefit from where I came from instead of trying to throw away everything about my past, then you don't keep on missing the point. And so it's important as you're raising teenagers, be vulnerable and at the same time, keep on building trust. And at the same time, keep on pointing them to God because God is the perfect person.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. We don't have much time, but I'd like now you to just tell us. So, these people with imposter syndrome, and of course I know you have many programs, how can you assist them? And perhaps what are some of the programs that you run that perhaps they could plug in so that, you know, you can help them deal with this imposter syndrome?
So I'd already mentioned the people that I work with, which is women. For preteens and teens, we usually have camps every holiday. Of course, we've been doing virtual events for them as well. And on December 30th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, we'll be having a camp 2 days for preteens and 2 days for teens. And it's called Facing Giants. So we want children to just face what is standing before them and overcome it and deal with it. We want children to actually feel like they're powerful to deal with whatever they are struggling with. When a child comes to me, I don't think that, you know, it's the responsibility of someone else to fix their lives. I actually put the whole responsibility in that child's hands. I'm like, okay, you are the boss here. You can influence even your own family. Joseph was able to rescue his whole family and bring them to Egypt. You know, so, and then the other thing is, we also have a program for mentors. Like right now it's running. People work with children, either teachers, Sunday school teachers, teachers in schools, mentors, people who are leaders in children's spaces, especially the preteens, teens and young adults. And one of the things we do in that space is also to help you not feel like an imposter in terms of you can influence that child's life more if you don't feel like you have power struggles with them. So how can you come to that place? And then for the women, we have a whole lot, including this Saturday, we are going to be walking in Karura in the morning. We usually call them physically bold woman hangout. And Physically Bold Woman is one of our programs. Like right now we have around 28 women in a group, a WhatsApp group, where we start working on things. Instead of always hating who I am, why don't you just work on it? And we focus on 5 F's: your food, your fitness, your friends, your focus, and your faith. Because you need to see your fitness goals as something that God is happy to help you with, so that you don't feel like nikienda gym ni dunia alafu sasa nikienda kanisa ni spiritual. Everything about you is spiritual. And God can help you with your eating and everything else. And so if that is a place you're struggling, because excuse me, many of us, we usually feel like we are an imposter because of how we look. We're like, yeah, by the way, because of how I look, it doesn't matter what I achieve. You know, I'm still a failure because I've not dealt with it. Why don't we just deal with that? You know, so in the Physically Bold Woman, we deal with it. It's a 3 months program, renewable, and then we work through your goals together. And then we have Emotionally Bold Woman for people who just want to heal emotionally. So we shall be having a program that is coming up next month. I would encourage you to probably just go and check out Paps Wanyugi, Confidence with Paps, RE, Confidence with Paps. That is my website, my YouTube channel. You'll find a lot of amazing content. And then we still have Papa's Bold Woman, which is also going on for women who want to repackage themselves. You know, so probably you're going through retirement or career transitions, or you just want to really live out fully. In terms of, I just feel like nimeachieve vitu mingi, but I don't feel like I am, that this is it. So we help you come to that it and to define it and to go into it. We also have Professionally Bold Woman for women who are struggling with imposter syndrome in the workplaces. So that is also something you can plug in. We also have Bold Wives, which is coming up next month. We actually have a free 3 days challenge in 4, 5, 6 October. And so that is also on my digital space, and of course my number is 0720-433-833. 0720-433-833. You can chat me on WhatsApp, and then I can share with you more details about this. And of course the other thing is also personal coaching. Sometimes you may want to just do your own journey first. But one of the things that I do with my clients when we are doing the personal coaching, if I feel like a program can help you, which might significantly save your costs, then we still transition you to that. And then we have parenting forums that we run with my husband. They are called Parenting on Track. We have a WhatsApp group for parents called Leading Generations. So you can also join in there. We do inspirations. We are planning to do webinars strongly next year. And of course, so many other things that we just keep on doing. We also have Spiritually Bold Woman. For women who just want to know who they are in Christ. You know, dull the voices and the notes in your head. Like, how can you have an authentic relationship with God? I know so many women probably are skeptics even in terms of faith, and COVID actually revealed that because we stopped going to church. We were like, by then, do I even need church? You know, but at the same time, how can you still have this vibrant relationship with God and still belong to a community where you're making impact? By the way, it's important to be part of God's family, you know, so that you get the full benefit, and you're also able to bring that life in abundance into that space, because it's not about you. You're too small thing to live for. You need to live for something greater than yourself. And so Spiritually Bold Woman, we keep on unpacking even our wrong beliefs about God. We also take responsibility of your spiritual growth in your hands. You know, you need to spend time with God by yourself. Wake up in the morning, tune into God before you tune into your day, so that everything you are doing becomes more intentional and it becomes more impactful when you're grounded in that. So Spiritually Bold Woman is also a very huge movement that will be starting on in January. We are still doing it right now. Like, we have devotions we do with women. We have a Bible study on Wednesday. Right now we are doing the bad girls of the Bible, where we look at those girls who are crazy in the Bible, starting with Eve, and we're like, what good thing can we learn from them?
Wow. So I hope you plug in. Please check out her social media platforms, her website. Get in touch with her so that you can get informed. And if you need any of these programs, I like something she said. She said she loves therapy, and it's good because many times actually in the Christian circles we believe God is enough, and He is.
I know.
But there's need for someone who is trained to just listen to you and help you deal with the issues that you have.
Can I say something about that?
Yes.
One of the things about therapy, we have a lot of stigma about it. That is why whenever we are struggling, we go to prayer center, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like going to Katoloni and we go to Heaven's Gate. One of the things I love about therapy, and I love mentioning to my clients, when I go for therapy, maybe I go and she's like, Paps, I think you have codependency issues. I think you have insecure attachments. I usually say I get new vocabularies to talk to God, because those things help me know how to pray for myself with understanding. Instead of just thinking like it's someone who is going to fix me, I actually say they give me more insights on how to pray for myself with more revelation and to how to commit those things to God, because then I'm now praying in terms of, Lord, by the I'm showing up in a dysfunctional way in my marriage. Most of the times is that I used to have a victim mindset when things are going wrong in my marriage. But going for therapy points the realizes that all these fingers are pointing back to me, and I realize that there are so many things I need to work on in myself. And so when I go to pray, it's like my prayers take a new shape when I have self-awareness.
Wow, okay. So I don't know if you're following us on Facebook, YouTube, please type what you've learned today. We'll follow after this program and just see what are your key takeaways from this program. Unfortunately, we've run out of time completely and we have to close. But I'll just give you 10 seconds, 10, to give us your parting shot. Here's your camera.
All right.
Yeah.
So my thought, even as we close this conversation on the imposter syndrome, it's to just remind ourselves that we are not altered. You know, everything that happens in your life, it's because God had predetermined it. He had predestined you for all those amazing things. And so every time you show up and there's that voice within yourself telling you you're not good enough, or, you know, this is fake, just keep on reminding yourself that, yeah, I'm not all this, but God does all this through me. And it's because I was made for this. And so keep on living out confidently. One of my areas of coaching is confidence and wellness. For you to just remember that He came so that you may have life and have it in abundance. And so anything that is short of abundance, don't accept it. Yeah.
Wow. What a parting shot. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's do this again next Thursday, same time. And from whichever platform you have joined us, thank you so much and God bless you. This is Elevate TV, where we are enhancing kingdom lifestyle. God bless you.